With school starting, a lot of parents may be heading back into the office.
So let's go back to the younger kids who really, for a lot of them, have gotten used to their family being around 24/7. This is going to be the first time transition for some of them to go back to the normal family routines, and that can be tough on, toddlers all the way through teenagers there. So here to talk about tips to handle that separation anxiety, Dr. Gigi Chawla, Chief of General Pediatrics at Children's Minnesota. Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me this morning.
Yes.
Gigi, I wondered if you were going to do a segment about pets, because that's normally when we're talking about separation anxiety, the poor dogs, right?
I'm certain my pet will also have separation anxiety, yes.
Toddlers have it too, though.
Yes, absolutely. Toddlers and even young kids. We've had parents and loved ones and guardians all really being at home. And so any of those transitions, you're going to see kids who are going to have a hard time.
So what should parents do to make sure, because ultimately you want your child to feel safe and loved and secure?
Yeah, I think it's, really helping with that transition. If you're going back to work, if the older children are going back to school, all of those can impact the younger kids left behind or needing to make that same transition to daycare or having another in-home babysitter or nanny or something like that. So really being thoughtful about what those transitions look like for kids. I think if you're going to bring your child to a new daycare or start a new daycare, really important to first see it yourself. Make sure that you feel comfortable with what's occurring there. Bring your child for short amounts of time. Make some inquiries to the daycare to really understand what is the schedule of events that happen at the daycare. When is nap time? When is playtime? Change your home routine to match that daycare so that it makes it easier on the kid, your toddler or child, to be able to make those transitions.
I have a question about changing that home routine, because I've talked with several parents, and I think this happens also in the summertime too, but bedtimes. During this COVID time, during the pandemic, they were sort of all over the place at every level of child.
We were too tired to enforce it, Gigi. You're like, fine, stay up till 11.
We're getting up later, and in some cases, a year and a half. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think it is sleep is so important, right? Sleep is so important to a child's behavior, their ability to learn the next day, and for you to be able to cope with everything for your child the next day. And so starting right now to make those transitions to walking back those bedtimes, setting a routine of when nap time is going to be is just so important, especially while making these transitions. You want your child to do it successfully.
All right, I know that there are parents who have been sort of staying out of the workforce, not really by choice, but because they had to run their own child care or their distance learning. But we do know that parents are going to start going back to work. Whether they come back to the office or find a new job or whatever the case is. How do you deal with your own feelings of separation anxiety, and at least acknowledge that, you do have, this is a real feeling that's going on?
Yeah, I think, first of all, just recognize that is all normal. When I transitioned my oldest daughter, Maddie, to preschool, she turned to me after I was a crying mess and said, "If you're not ready for this, Mom, we can do this another year." And so make sure you understand that as a parent, you may not be ready, and your child might be ready. So really get yourself in check first and recognize that this is a normal process. Make all of those transitions short and sweet. Give them all the love and attention right at that time, and be on time when you're going to pick them up. Make sure that you set a little ritual around it that's really regular, so that it creates some expectation of how that transition will happen.
This is great advice for anything, Gigi. Get yourself in check, Mom.
Get yourself in check first.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.